month of July. I'm meteorologist Chris Warren. It's time for Examination Earth. We're going to start off with a look at sea ice in the Arctic and Antarctic for the month of July. Both are down. The Arctic, it is down now by 16% for the month of July based on average. Carbon dioxide, a major greenhouse gas contributing to the warming of the planet at new record levels for the 6th straight year.
Right, kids, just before you go, there's a brilliant idea in the air that I'd like to run by you. Now, it's called 10-10. The idea is everyone starts cutting their carbon emissions by 10%, thus keeping the planet safe for everyone, eventually.
Anywhere in red had a warmer than average July. The dark red, warmest Julys on record.
Tell me something, what is this 10-10 thing the club is doing?
Well, it means that we're trying to cut our carbon emissions by 10% this year, and Tottenham Hotspur Football Club was the first to sign up.
Don't pack your things and investigate real estate prices in the tropics yet, but there's a theory advanced by climatologists that the last 2 years of battering by winter means that an ice age is returning to the Earth with glaciers down to the Mason-Dixon line and freezing temperatures south of that.
Do you ever think that maybe you're wrong about global warming?
I think the science is very clear in global warming. What these statements are, we'll go down the path and see what happens in peer-reviewed studies. Those are the key words here, Stuart. Peer-reviewed studies.
Listen to this. I had a Princeton professor on my program.
What does he have his degree in?
Look, he's a physicist. Okay,
a physicist?
He's a Princeton professor.
I want people who are PhDs in climate science.
The experiment you'll be taking part in today involves the perception of lengths of lines. As you can see here, I have a number of cards, and on each card there are several lines. Your task is a very simple one. You're to look at the line on the left and determine which of the 3 lines on the right is equal to it in length.
In God we trust, all others send data. So I'm bringing data. And I don't ask you to believe any opinions that I may have. You'll hear very few opinions from me. What you'll see is a lot of data, and I hope that the data is clear enough so you can make up your own minds, and you won't need to ask what my opinion is. In this picture, for example, this is the 1979 shoreline right here. This is where the sea level was in 1979. Here's where it is now. Here's another place. This is where the sea level was in 1979. Here's where it is now.
Nobody's pushing you around. You're spewing your nonsense here yet again.
Nonsense?
The air in LA is twice as clean as it was in 1970. Why? Because of good technology. Spew these lies.
That's not my argument.
Spew these lies about how much it's going to cost.
Seattle has a really good sea level record, tidal gauge record. Here's the rate of rise. It's about 7 inches per century.
It's the blueprint, and it's an action plan to inventory and control all land, all water, all minerals, all plants, all animals, all construction, all means of production, all information, and all human beings in the world.
So they built up an artificial barrier that prevented hurricanes from ever qualifying to be experimented or seeded for damage reduction. I am terribly disappointed that the government have decided a long time ago not to do this, not to do the hurricane damage reduction anymore.
You've mentioned a couple times in your presentation that none of this is being reported on because the media won't cover it. Could you enlighten us a little bit more on what's happening there?
I can tell you personally that a few years ago, the New York Times did a feature presentation on some of my material. MSNBC did do an interview, CNN did, and Fox did, and CBS later did. But ABC, NBC, all of those withdrew their interest in interviewing.
This is a GCSE chemistry book, and the first picture you come to is of a boy in a very severe mask to protect him from air pollution. Turn the page and we're into the Earth's atmosphere, but that's covered there. And then those pages and the next 10 pages are just about pollutants in the atmosphere.
We shall propose further cooperative efforts between all the nations in weather prediction and eventually in weather control.
So what about the lunatic energy policies that have been thrust upon us by politicians?
Tom, thank you. It is now 8:04, time for the weather and now.
Beautiful morning here in the Northeast. Let's check the rest of your weather, show you what's going on for today. And you'll see that we've got clear skies throughout much of the country, some showers in the northern plains and wet weather.
You know, and it's one funny thing I think of if only a hurricane had come on 9/11. If only a hurricane had come on 9/11.
I want to show you, though, just to the east of New York, what our satellites were picking up September 11th, 2001. That is Hurricane Erin. At the time, it was a Category 1 hurricane.
If only a hurricane had come on 9/11.
If we look at what was happening just about 400 miles to the west of there in lower Manhattan, this is from our MODIS satellite from NASA, and you can actually, if you look very closely there in lower Manhattan, you can see the smoke coming down from the Twin Towers there on September 11th. That very brisk northerly flow, a cold front had moved through and deflected this hurricane from threatening, or at least getting to New York City.